Hello and welcome to Patrick's Models and Transport. Right, remember in the last video the diamond crossing test video, the Lima dock shunter or dock switcher 040 wasn't collaborating. It wasn't one to work. So today I took the body off, tested it with a battery on the brushes, worked fine. Then I put it on the layout. It didn't want to start. I wiggled it around a bit and it started. So I think this locomotive is needing servicing. I think the pickups are maybe needing bent out a bit against the wheel flanges because they're behind the flanges. I also think the commutator is probably needing cleaned. This locomotive is as delivered from the factory. I've never opened it up because I never really used it much. So this is my third locomotive because the first two locomotives in my train set career were the FS Lima, the FS Lima, of course. I began with Lima. The FS E652 electric locomotive, the Deutsche Bahn BR39 steam locomotive, and then dating back to 1979. And this one was my birthday present for my 12th birthday, which was on the 29th of November 1987 when I was 12. But I never really used it much because my sister was born for Hogmanay 1987 and then after that, there was a small baby in the house. I used to get using the living room table, which was a round table, and then it would extend into an oval table, and that was my Christmas treat to get to run the train set. And with a small baby in the house it became impossible, plus things with school. I was busy, and I used to occasionally maybe lay out a length of track on my desk in the following years and maybe run a locomotive or something just to keep things going, but this has not been used very much. When I brought all my railway equipment back in summer, what was it, 22, this locomotive was running perfectly, unlike the other two, the E656 and the BR39, which had been used a lot. They had very dirty commutators that really needed servicing, lubrication, etc. So I didn't touch this one because it was okay. So I think that now it's really needing a good clean, and probably the commutator's needing a good clean. It needs a proper strip down. At the moment it's going. Let's see if it's going to go in the other direction. Also last night I just took it out of the box, and I expected it to run on a temporary piece of track. There's a point there where I need to add a rail clamp. So let's stop it right here and have a look at the thing. So you can see this is the version that has the silver commutator. You can't see it now, but believe me, it's not the copper one, it's a silver one. Oops, that's coaling station. It's going to have to be another project we have to do. Ian's coaling station. You can see that there is some dirt. These pickups are not really very clean. There's some kind of gunked up lubrication here on the gears. Everything needs a good strip down and a good clean. So we'll give this locomotive a clean. But it's actually working right now, so it's okay. Let's see. Spoke too soon. Same problem, you see? It won't start. I don't even know what direction we're going in. I did. Yes, this is definitely needing a clean. And another thing I've just noticed, look at that ballast. Look at that. That's some zinc pest there. It's beginning to bulge and crack. This is the Zamac weight. That's beginning to bulge and crack there. Look at there, right beside my finger. Lima's cheap and nasty Zamac weights. Really very coarse. Look at the flashing on it. Really, things done. You can't see it. Things done at a super budget. And the thing is that this is conductive. This is very important for the front light because the front light's wedged in there, and so the locomotive will work without the Zamac weight. I think. I don't really know. We should do some tests. And this is conductive for the bulb. Or the bulb was wedged in here, so, but no, really it's not conductive at all, because you see that there are two, there's only, there are two separate cables for the bulb. So the bulb is actually powered by the brush holders, so we don't have absolutely nothing to do, so probably the thing runs even without the Zamac weight inside. Well, that's easy enough to see. I can't do things with only one hand, but we'll try. Next clip. Oh, the locomotive works very well without the Zamac ballast, but it can't. It's completely. It's top heavy at the rear because the motor is on the overhang, and so this thing here won't stay on the rails without the Zamac weight. So the Zamac weight is not conductive. It's fundamental to make the locomotive work, and that's that. It's actually pretty weighty, and this locomotive, we know from previous tests that it has a very pathetic tractive effort. It's really pretty weak. So very simple plastic chassis, no traction tires, of course, because it's all wheel pickup, and it's driven by gears down to the wheels over here. Okay, so let's get that everything reassembled, and then we'll have a good, this will be serviced properly. Oh, right, let's have a look at this locomotive now. End of the day, been busy today, had 2 students. Right, so this is a Lima, as I was saying before, the dog shunter. There we go, 040. The product code is the Lima 203005, and of course I've got this with its original box and everything, because as I was telling you before, that this was my birthday present for my 12th birthday. So this is a 1987, let's say it was 1987, so this is a 1987 probably production. I mean, I was born at the end on the 29th of November, so this was probably made in 1987 or maybe 1986. So this has only ever been opened once, meaning once I took the body shell off, when I just brought all my things back, and I began assembling the very early phases of the Brunel layout. Before I restarted the channel, I actually dropped this on the floor and the light wasn't working, and so I opened it up just to reposition the light bulb and to check that everything was okay. At the time, I had to service the E656 Caimano, I had to service the BR39. They were going very badly because their commutators were extremely dirty. Those were locomotives that had been used intensively. This one here was practically never used because, as I was saying before, and I'm repeating myself, after receiving this, then my sister was born, and practically there was no occasion or space to take out my loop of railway to play with trains like I was usually doing during the Christmas period, and plus then life just got in the way. Then I had another year of middle school here in Italy, then high school, then there's some. I was taking it out and running it every now and again on a length of track on my desk, just for the fun to run a locomotive. Generally, I was taking this one because it was smaller, and that was that. That just kept the fire of the model railway enthusiasm well, stocked in coal, plenty of coal in that fire. And I continued buying the HO in particular, model cars and vehicles, and then after I began squandering my money on 00 buses and such like things, so things that were related to the railway. Anyway, let's have a look at this thing here. This is as it was when it came out of the factory in Isola Vicentina. So, never been opened. We can see that it's quite a recent model. It's more modern compared to some of the other motors I have. And how do we recognize that? First of all, there's a suppressor. It's fitted with a suppressor so that your TV and radio, analog television and radio, won't start farting when you're playing with model trains. I have a radio in here, and when I've got the radio on and I'm running the Lima V100 2-axle diesel shunting locomotive, the radio really starts farting away. So I suppose we can say farting. Yes, we can. A farting radio. Okay. Anyway, and this has been fitted with a suppressor, so that's another item that we have to be very careful. Apart from the fact it's just soldered on, so it's not really a problem. That's fine. But that's a wee suppressor. It would work perfectly well without. In fact, nowadays with all the yes, you need it in here. But for example, Lima motors have the tendency to cause interference. But for example, Juef locomotives don't have suppressors, and I've never had any problems with a radio in here when I listen to the proper medium wave radio, which I haven't done for some time. I've been too busy. I'll have to start listening to the radio again. Proper radio. I like real radio. Okay, right. I'm hoping, my plan is to edit a single video out of this stuff here. Let's try and not make it too long. So, I suspect dirt. There's dirt behind the wheels. The pickups, I ran it a bit before and it was working quite well. So, mainly, I won't go through all the cleaning together, but we could open it just to have a look, just to see how a Lima locomotive that's never been opened in 1987, let's say, so we're talking about 38 years. And another thing that we can see, that it's a more recent one, this main drive gear here, this gear here, is bolted on. This isn't just clipped on. So there's a slightly different layout of the gears, also because this is a steam engine, and the drive, the gear drive on the steam locomotives is slightly different. So you can see that I can open that nut there, that bolt, and then take the gear off and clean all the gears, which is definitely something I'm going to do. Anyway, let's just do a thing together now, right now. In the meantime, we'll simply open the commutator and see the state of the commutator. So let's get the wee vessel for the screws, because we don't want... I'm not going to go through all the steps of cleaning the commutator. I mean, one Lima motor is the same as another, so we don't really need to go bonkers doing the whole procedure again and again and again. But let's have a look at this thing here that's never been opened since it was made in Isola Vicentina many years ago. So you've got your sort of here beside me. Let's see. Right. I think we'll just take, well, we're going to leave the weight on for the moment, and we'll just take the weight off. Let's take the ballast out, it's less palaver. There. Okay, we will take the commutator, the motor the brush housing plate off. Also, we can see some slight differences in these different types of motors. Now, what we're going to have to do now, we're going to have to be very careful not for those brushes not to shoot and disappear. We don't really know where, because they do have a tendency to ping into non-existence. I'm going to use a few of these very nice tweezers to help me in this job, which I bought at Action. Very nice set of tweezers here, we can see. Thanks to Bugler75 Ian for advising me to buy these. They're really very good. So I'm using these fantastic new tweezers to just help getting the screws out. More likely I'm going to use them for the springs. Okay. Let's be very careful with these springs. There's some hair in here as well. Some fluff. Okay. The brushes have just fallen out nicely. So we're going to pop the brushes and the brush retaining springs. There's a brush spring, another brush spring. As you can see, the brushes are pretty new. There's not been much use here. Don't know if that's in focus. Brushes are not even very dirty and not very worn down. Here's another one. We clean and lighter fluid will do the job. Let's see what state the commutator plate's in. Pretty clean. Really very clean. A very good commutator plate. Very nice. Don't know whether we can even pull it out and see how it's made. We don't want to pull the magnet out. The magnet seems to be coming with it, which is not my intention. We don't have any. We have a nice bearing here, but I think that bearing is standard even on in all the other motors. Let's pull this out. Yep, there's a bearing even on the front. In the older motors there's no bearing here on the front plate. There's no bearing, there's just plastic there. So here they've improved it with a front bearing and a rear bearing. Let's have a look at the commutator plate, see what state it's in. The commutator's of course in perfect condition, it works very well. It's even pretty clean. A bit of oxidation, but nothing really, nothing bad. Nothing that we don't even need to use a fiberglass pencil in this thing here, so I think we're okay. So we'll just give this thing here a quick clean using cotton buds and lighter fluids. Just see together now how much dirt there is on this. Hey, you can see this is a newer offering, really quality. Of course there's some carbon deposit here, but it's not bad. I don't think I need to use the fiberglass pencil on it. On others, I'm not really, even very, very soiled, dirty and very old commutator plates, I've not used the fiberglass pencil on them. But the last one I did, the SNCF BB 67000, I actually used the fiberglass pencil there, so it's coming quite nice. You can also see traces where this locomotive wasn't used much, and you can see the points, which I might actually clean at this point using the fiberglass pencil. You can see the points where the brushes have just sat there with the locomotive in storage for a long time, you see. They left a kind of shadow. And note that when the motor stops, it seems as if one of the brushes is always on one of the sections. Interesting. I don't really like using fiberglass pencil much. You get bits of strands of fiberglass all over the place. It's something really annoying, and you can get them in your fingers. I think I say this thing every time I mention a fiberglass pencil. Okay. It's quite good. Not even any much corrosion here. It's pretty clean. Always clean them here as well, just to get rid of any dust deposits and such. Okay, let's have a look inside the ring magnet, how it's getting on, much dirt there is here. Pretty dirty, dirty here, it's needing a good clean. There's some oil in here as well. Dirty deposits from I like to use an old paintbrush to do these things, because you can get quite a lot of lighter fluid in here and give things a really good steep. Anyway, it evaporates and it doesn't cause any problems to plastic and the like. I generally only use contact cleaner for very, very stubborn dirty parts. I could spray some on here after, we'll see. We'll see whether it's needed. I mean, after I ran it a bit, it was going fine. The motor was going absolutely fine, so there was absolutely no problem at all. Alright. We will take all the gears and things out anyway to... Okay, so that's quite nice. Let's see what's going on at the other side. This is all very greasy, and I think we'll clean this in the next clip, because this was really pretty gunked up. There's oil here. This has been lubricated, and the grease is all very hardened and not looking very nice, as you can see. See? So that's that. We'll do this in the next clip. Okay, so I was having a very good look at the locomotive with my close-up enlarging glasses on top of my reading ones, and here's a culprit for the very bad contacts. Dirt, fluff, a lot of fluff. Excuse me, the window's open and my neighbour has a bad cough. Oh my. There's a lot of dirt here, a lot of fluff in between the pickups. That's why it wasn't working. And it's not really visible with the bodywork on. So what we're going to use here, we are going to use some contact spray to give these pickups a really good clean. Lovely tweezers, these, very good, nice and sharp. Okay, so that was the main problem. We need a good, there's still manga in there, look at that. There's fluff and things even running. I mean, I remember giving this a clean in 2022 when I did bring it back. And I took it out and I opened it up and I found some. At one point I'd ran it on a carpet because the second last house I lived, not the last place when I was with my parents, but the previous flat had carpets. Quite unusual in Italy. It had fitted carpets. And I remember running it on the floor in my sister's room to show her she was at school at the time, and we actually made a line that went from my bedroom all the way to her bedroom on the carpet, and probably we used this locomotive and probably picked up some carpet fluff at the time. So it needs a good clean. Look at that. It's really needing some lighter fluid applied with a paintbrush first of all. That'll melt all the mank, and then we'll give the thing a scoosh with contact spray. So I've mechanically removed some of the dirt, but I'll probably do this thing off camera later. But we will open this gear mechanism together. I want to open this together, so it's a sort of part, doing things together, and part thing. Well, we don't need to look at all the tedious, a million dirty cotton buds and things like that. We've gone through that phase quite a lot. Okay, righto. I'll do some boring cleaning now and catch you later. Well, I was about to interrupt filming to go for a shower, and I have is that a dragonfly? I think that's a dragonfly on the railway. Perfect camouflage. Not to fly away, sir. Out the window, preferably. Whoop. Oh, it's away. I don't know where it went. Anyway, I'll let it fly out. I'll put the light off. I was attracted by the light. So there we go. Wildlife in here. I think I saw another butterfly up there. Okay. Right. I'm going for a wash and then we'll continue later.